Bangladesh has been experiencing significant political turmoil in recent months. The country's Prime Minister, Sheikh Hasina, who has been in power for 15 years, has faced escalating protests and violence. The situation reached a critical point in August 2024, leading to her resignation and subsequent flight to India. This abrupt change marks a significant shift in Bangladesh's political landscape and raises questions about the country's immediate future. The unrest began in June 2024, when student groups initiated protests against a controversial quota system in government jobs. The system was seen as discriminatory and unfair, sparking widespread dissatisfaction among the youth. What started as peaceful demonstrations soon escalated into violent confrontations with security forces. The inability of the government to address the protesters' demands and the heavy-handed response from the police only fueled the anger and broadened the scope of the protests. By mid-July, the protests had intensified, with various groups, including opposition parties and civil society organizations, joining the movement. The protests were no longer just about the quota system, but had grown into a larger movement against Sheikh Hasina's government, which many accused of corruption, electoral fraud, and economic mismanagement. The unrest has claimed the lives of over 300 people, according to local media reports. Amid the escalating violence and mounting pressure, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina resigned on August 5, 2024. She fled to India, marking the end of her long tenure. Her departure was followed by celebrations in the streets of Dhaka and other major cities, with jubilant crowds waving flags and chanting slogans of victory. The military, led by General Wakar-uz-Zaman, announced plans to form an interim government to restore order and stabilize the country. General Zaman, in a televised speech, emphasized the need to stop the violence and hinted at discussions with opposition parties and civil society members about the formation of a caretaker administration, formation of the interim government. The concept of a caretaker government is not new to Bangladesh. From 1990 to 2008, elected governments ceded power to interim technocratic administrations to ensure free and fair elections. This system was abolished in 2011, but the current crisis has renewed calls for its reinstatement. The transition to an interim government, however, is fraught with challenges. Some student leaders and activists have already expressed their unwillingness to accept any interim administration that does not include their representation. Asif Mahmood, a prominent student leader, emphasized that representatives of the protesters must be part of the interim government to ensure their voices are heard and their demands addressed. In addition to the police, there have been reports of civilians, purportedly supporters of the ruling party, attacking protesters alongside law enforcement officials. This has further inflamed the situation and highlighted the deep divisions within Bangladeshi society. The political instability has also taken a toll on Bangladesh's economy. The ongoing violence and uncertainty have disrupted businesses and daily life. Many people have been unable to work, leading to economic hardship for a significant portion of the population. The longer the unrest continues, the more severe the economic consequences will be. International reactions. The international community is closely monitoring the situation in Bangladesh. Neighboring India, where Sheikh Hasina has sought refuge, is particularly concerned about the potential for further instability in the region. Other countries and international organizations have called for a peaceful resolution to the crisis and for the protection of human rights. The United Nations and various human rights organizations have urged the Bangladeshi government to engage in dialogue with the protesters and opposition parties to find a peaceful solution. There is a growing consensus that a new interim government, inclusive of various stakeholders, is necessary to restore stability and prepare for future elections. The future of Bangladesh is uncertain as the country navigates this period of transition. The formation of an interim government will be a critical step in